remembering the victims of COVID, sharing the stories of their lives.
My name is Vanessa Alferman. I'm from Washington, Missouri, and I'm Axel Louise Alferman's mother. I'm a registered nurse. I work at Missouri Baptist Hospital in Sullivan. I work on a COVID med-surg ICU area. At the hospital, you know, we're like family. We protect each other. So COVID came to the hospital last year, and we all worked together, getting through each day. And of course, in that time period, which was July, I found out I was pregnant. And at that point, we didn't know too much about COVID. We didn't know what it would bring to us. We just knew at that point it was respiratory. So being pregnant, I was considered high risk. So my coworkers and my bosses all worked together for me. I didn't take care of COVID patients. They made sure I had the proper PPE, the protection, everything I could to not get this. So everything was great, went through my pregnancy. In November, my husband came home from work not feeling well, and we decided to get him tested. He tested positive for COVID. So, you know, at that point I was nervous because I didn't want to get it. I didn't want my kids to get it. So, of course, I separated from him. Well, the next day I started to get the symptoms. So it was too late, of course. So I was quarantined at home getting through this virus. And, you know, I had all the symptoms except for respiratory. I had the fatigue. I had the big head cold and sinus issue. I had the temp changes, the chills. I could barely move. I just didn't have any respiratory issues. So I thought I was going to get through this fine with mild symptoms to me. So on the 10th day of the virus, I started getting front and back pains. And I went to a local OB who said, you know, it's just a side effect of COVID, go home. I didn't feel very good about that. So I went to my OB in St. Louis. And at that point, I was stable. I just had a really bad infection from the COVID, of course. They gave me some muscle relaxers, said it was just something to watch. And me having COVID, it wasn't a good idea to stay there because I was considered stable. Because I wasn't dilating, I was all intact, it was good. That night at 8:30, I started bleeding and had some weird pains, but it never set in what it could be. I just was listening to my doctors. The next morning at 1:30 in the morning, I woke up and realized I was in labor.
Alferman said complications from COVID-19 cut off oxygen and nutrients to her son. Moments after his birth, Axel died.
It was a month before the vaccines were released. What I went through was bad. You know, it's devastating. But I talk about Axel because I don't want anyone else to have to go through this. There's prevention to this. There's ways for this not to happen again. We have these vaccines. We have medical education out there. And I just don't want another Vanessa and Axel. I don't want another mother to think, what if, when they lose their child, or anyone else that loses someone to COVID. I don't want there to be a what if when we have a solution.